Hey fam, what's going on? This is Jessica Pickens. Welcome to Pickens Realities, our Blended Family Truths podcast.
Because now she's trying to keep up with the Joneses.
You mean because you've made decisions that to be a person of integrity, and so you're not going outside the line, so you're hitting these hurdles that are blocking you from being able to do as well as you can to take care of your family. So now you're experiencing these consequences. You're saying, so would it justify you jumping outside of?
No, I'm saying so like from a child's point of view, like a relationship with parent, step-parent, child, right? Your child is trying to keep up with the societal structure that they see on social media and in school. And now, okay, boom, now I'm going to start taking pieces of jewelry from you and wearing them to school.
You have to
or
address
trying
it.
to,
You have to address it. You have to
So
hit it.
does that automatically mean trust is out the window with the kid?
You have to you have to be honest with the fact. Number one, you have to be wisely aware of the reality of the situation, right? Does it mean that it's out the window? It means that it's jeopardized. Do you throw it away, never to return again? No.
But there are situations where, like, people will throw it away, never to return again, all because of their lack of situational awareness or,
But this is, again, why we, time after time after time, and we'll keep saying it every time, this is why, in my opinion, in our opinion, as we've discussed, this is where the counseling factor comes in. Because you have to choose to communicate and get to the root of what's really going on, right? Why did that child not trust you enough to come and say, Mom or Dad, I'm struggling because I feel like everybody else has stuff that I don't have. And that bothers me. And if you realize or see that your child is going in your closet, taking stuff without permission, and you know good and well you see them with it or they got it on, then you have to address it. You got to go, what's really going on here? Like, why did you do that? And what is going on? And then choose to engage in, again, respectful conversation, because flying off the handle and doing the, hollering and screaming and physical discipline before you get to the root of why did you do this, in my opinion, that'll shut a kid down, right? And so when we're talking about how do you address complex scenarios within blended families when there's already all of these varying dynamics that jeopardize a consistent foundational level of trust, it is one moment, 1 second at a time, and you have to choose to walk through it and navigate it as a mature adult, man. Being responsible is not easy. It's not. And it is a lot easier for people to ignore a complicated or difficult situation
than it is to
address it. But so, just like we were having a conversation the other day, me and you and your dad, right? When I always feel like when you come upon scenarios, in my opinion, if you don't address it, it kind of gives that person permission to keep on with this habit, this unhealthy habit, because nobody's called them out on it. Because unless you've been a part of seeing it be addressed with them before, if you experience an issue with a person and this is not cool, like this behavior is not okay, or what you're doing, like when you enter into a relationship with somebody and you both agree, whether it's friends, whether it's girlfriend, boyfriend, whether it's husband, wife, whether it's sibling, doesn't matter. There's supposed to be dual accountability, and you build trust that's supposed to be reciprocal. And so just like you and I have gotten to a point where, while it's uncomfortable, we know how to navigate sensitive situations. And we also have learned that, okay, when you're in your mode and it's heightened sensitivity because it's just been a stressful week, this, that, and the other, and you say, I don't really want to talk about that right now, I got too much going on, I back off and give you respect. Where when you were a child, I didn't give you that. Right? I'd be like, y'all, no, we gonna talk about this right now. Well, that doesn't help, right? But we've built a mutual respect and trust to where I know, okay, let me give her some time. We'll come back and we'll talk about it, right? But I have, instead of just not, or sometimes I even be like, okay, I talk to your dad and I be like, I'm gonna let you ask Marche about this one. Because I also still understand. No, I'm serious. Because I also understand innately, and I have finally come to terms and peace with this reality. I did not give birth to you. There is a level of relationship that you have with your mom and with your father that you and I will never achieve because I did not give birth to you. And I have finally made peace with that. I have accepted, I am grateful for the relationship that you and I have, but I'm also not going to try to force a fit anymore. I didn't even realize that was what I was doing in the beginning. You see what I mean? I really didn't. I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do.
First step is realization. No, I'm kidding.
You know, and no, and that's real. And you probably could have trusted me a lot sooner had I had that piece of information. Had I realized, had I all the information and education that we've gained recently, particularly as we've been on this journey of, let's open up our lives for the benefit of other blended families, because people need to see a real live example and to know you can make it. This stuff is complicated. It is complex. It is not easy, but you can get through it. And that's all we're doing. And as we've engaged upon this journey, and we are continually educating ourselves on how do you still deal with trust issues? How do you navigate this? We can look back and say how we got through what we got through from that perspective. But as we're even growing now, shoot, we're still finding out stuff. So if you open yourself up to, okay, what's really going on? Is this a trust issue? Is this the I'm being stubborn issue? Is this a pride issue? Is this an arrogance issue? Excuse me.
All of the above.
And then be real about that. Like, to me, that's the only way you get to the root of it. And then people have to make a choice.
Right. I was just going to say, but it's ultimately a situation where no matter how much trust you build, I was literally just having this conversation. I can show someone so much that, for example, the whole situation with my baby, since that's just been my life for the past week, right? And someone told me that they think that who her dad isn't who her dad is because they look like
someone else.
Right. And I'm just like, folks, I can show you all the tests in the world. I can show you all the messages in the world, but it don't matter because you've already made up in your mind that you don't believe the truth, even if it's right in front of you. So it's like people have to get to a point of like, I feel like that's another thing with trust and building it in families and friendships and whatever, is people have to come to realize that when you see that people are stuck on a belief, it's very hard to change it, and you can't force it. I feel like a lot of people want to force being trusted, force being heard, and like when you get to a point of like realizing, like you said, lean not on your own understanding. It is not for us to lean on why this person isn't trusting me and I've literally not scorned them. No, like you got to be here and not here. Here means relationship with God. Here is relationship with people, earthly things, all the stuff.
I think the biggest thing too, you are correct. You can't make anybody else do anything. You can suggest, and then depending upon, and you can give counsel, you can give your opinion. And depending upon your relationship with that person and their level of trust for you and your guidance, they may or may not respond in the way that you are advising them to go.
Right.
Right? And so I agree with you that sometimes people just be on what they want to be on, and sometimes it is hard to admit at any age, right? But this is one thing that I wish that we could have understood in a different way and talked about with y'all as growing up. It is okay, number one, to admit that you don't know it all, you ain't got it all, and your opinion and what you think ain't always right or necessarily the truth. We talk very, very often about my perspective is my reality, your perspective is your reality.
If we had those thought processes 17 years ago.
Man, just think about how much drama we could have avoided had we taken the perspective like where me, you, and where your mother and I are now, and even just why did it take 21 years for us to sit on a couch together and talk through a history?
You want to know why? Because the thing that kept y'all where y'all was at was the kids. And now that the kids are really no longer something that we gotta be in communication for real, because we're all adults. We got our own kid.
No, but I'm saying no. I think because of the kids, we should. But
no. I'm saying that
factor, though,
I was about to say that allowed y'all the opportunity to be able to low key like have beef with each other because of the kids.
I don't see it as we didn't have beef with each other like that. It was a territorial thing for me anyway. I can't speak beef. For anybody else.
That's beef. Beef don't always got to be let's square up, but beef could be like I don't like you, you don't like me.
But I never felt like I didn't like your mom.
I feel like there's times when that's
your perspective, but I just felt that's
good.
Your perspective.
But still, I just feel like it took so long because of the kids. One, because I feel like the perception of what was going on amongst households or whatever. Okay. Then two, me. And then three, the fact that Eric, Dom, and Jayla have different views of each house. So that just...
But watch this. At the root of all of that, for all the blended families out there, people thinking about merging and blended families, had we known a different process and sat down as adults and there been at a spot where me, your dad, and your mom could have sat down together and said, hey, this is what's going on. How do we navigate this in a way that creates healthy relationship for the kids' sake so that we are acting as freaking adults? And how do we set up schedules and processes so that we're respecting you, you're respecting us.
But and y'all the kids was babies though. Like y'all was 30s. Like y'all was young.
Yeah.
I'm almost 30. So what y'all was doing, that ain't even I can't y'all was grown for real. Like
well again, but think about the
y'all had
but see, you know why? Because that wasn't your mom or your dad, and I'm not throwing shade, I'm just talking truth. That's because I was the type of person that said, I'm going to give you trust until you give me a reason not to. And because my heart
and
for
they were both was like yo, you got to give it to... Yeah.
Exactly. Right? And
okay, so that... Hold on, wait. That leads me into the next one. How can step and bio parents overcome trust issues when past relationships or co-parenting dynamics
and this is
are
why
strained?
we're going to... So I know your mom is coming up here. She was meant to be here right now. But we're going to have to do a segment where it's me, you, your mom, and your dad. And have this conversation. And I even thought about what I have to see. Look, yeah, he going, no, but for real. Seriously, because it's maturity, man. And you gotta sit down and you gotta go look. And for us, the older that we get, just like your mom and I have talked about it, she was like, man, I never, until after we sat down and did that episode, she had some of the things that she was like, I never thought about it from your perspective. right?
Nobody ever thinks it.
You know, but
Nobody wins when the family
but I
feuds.
I did because in my head, I did view it from her because I was like, man, how would I feel if I didn't have Jalen and somebody else was raising my kid? I was like, man. So I could understand her frustration. You know, I could understand. So even though I didn't always agree, right, with how it was handled, or at least I took the time to try to understand, because when you do that and you take a step back, and again, it still calls for you to be a mature person and to trust yourself, and then trust who you say you trying to be in relationship with, from your spouse to your kids, right? And
So I have a question. Of course, everyone, if they knew then what they know now, things would be different, right? So boom. Knowing what you know now, what can you give the people that are in these situations that shining, ain't you?
but I'm like, woo, close it, Calvin, close it, because this sun is lighting me up over here. I'm like, I need a 10, y'all, I really do. But woo! Okay, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. Don't fall. Don't fall. On set adjustments over here, y'all. On set adjustments.
No, so what can you give the people that have these strained co-parenting relationships, knowing what you know now, being able to prevent, like, so that you can build that bond or trust? So I'm gonna use myself for an example. Boom. Let's say I wanted to be a family with a man who has a baby mama. You know where I'm going with this. You know who I'm talking about, right? And you know the stuff that's happened has happened, right? And we're like, oh, let's be a family. How do you navigate, because so much stuff has happened, right? And the baby mama don't like you and gonna always just have something to say about you. But because in some situations, let's be real, some women would do all that and not like you for real, not because of the kids or the man, but because they see that you're everything that they ain't, and now they baby daddy.
Or you have what they desired to have. So I think that you know, again, I'm always real careful, and you a little bit more spicy because again, you ain't quite yet 30, so I can understand that, right? But I'm just more careful with how I make assumptions about people, right? Because there were times in my life when you would.
It ain't no assumption. It's been said.
Okay, well that's fine.
That.
That's fine, right? But to your point.
Yes.
Right. One, learn from our mistakes. You whether you are, again, if you are preparing to create a blended family, so if you got a kid and the person you dating has a kid or kids, if one of y'all if either person has children from a previous relationship and you are dating someone, you living with someone, or you're dating them for the intention of marriage, you are in a blended family or building to create a blended family, right? Sit down and have conversations about the things that blended families have to navigate that are different from traditional families. Talk about it up front and begin to work on that stuff and determine, are you able to navigate it? Because if you're not, just stop it.
Right.
Because the kids are always going to be collateral damage.
Right.
Period. The kids are going to be the ones that suffer, not the crazy adults.
Right.
Can you control all bio parents? Or is every adult going to act like they have sense?
That was literally my question.
And want to be mature? Because here's the thing. Everybody in a family matters. I'm going to get my t-shirt on. I write, every single person matters. The adults have lived longer. So what do they have more of than the kids? Everybody's got what?
Well, let's not go that far.
No. What word am I
some
talking
kids
about?
are more wise beyond their years.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I want to
What?
talk about wisdom. Everybody's got baggage.
Oh, more experience.
And so the adults have more baggage typically than the kids. And so, one, be realistic and unpack your stuff. And when unpacking your stuff, and when I'm sitting down and I'm talking to, had I sat down with your dad up front and got the whole full story about his relationship.
Mugs wasn't gonna tell you because he didn't want to lose it.
Girl.
I see a good thing. I don't want to lose it. No.
You know, had I got that's right. Okay. And so, but that's real.
But I was
right?
gonna say, but what happens in those situations where mugs will sit and lie to you because they don't want to lose you? Then the other party,
We've had that experience too, haven't we?
right, the step parent. No. But listen, the second bio parent is in a situation. In our, but the second bio parent is in a situation where it's like,
y'all, they be trying to tell us off scene. Like, we watching the time, we know what we doing.
I ain't like.
We got
be
this.
here
We
if you
know
don't
what
want
time.
to.
Okay.
Anyway, so Muggs is lying, not saying, stuff because they don't want to lose you. The baby mama don't like you, but she's just off her rocker, right? And so she's not really in a position to start wanting to be mature.
So that's
so. What do you do in those situations?
Well, you have to make a grown-up decision.
Right, but if I'm asking, what can I do to build your trust so that you know that I am doing what's in the best interest of your child? Are you talking
about between you and the person you're dating? You talking about you and the bio mom?
Right, you and the bio person.
So first of all, if the other parent of the non-biological child, if the bio parent is not in a place to have civil conversations yet, I would say first and foremost, quite frankly, honestly, you got to bathe that situation in prayer, right? You do, because it is hard until people get to a certain. Listen, you can think what you want.
Smite the almighty smiter.
My God, I cannot with you. Forgive y'all, Lord, and I done prayed this too many times. I ain't even gonna say forgive her, God, because she knows not what she knows exactly what she doing. Cut it out. No. You don't pray to smite the person.
No, I was thinking of Bruce Almighty.
But these are real challenges that people face. I need you to cut it out. You have to make a decision because, number one, and everybody's may not, if you're not a person of faith, okay, fine. But you have to make an adult decision. Can you have a successful, healthy relationship with a man who has a child, and that child's mother wants nothing to do with you and actually desires to create chaos and problems for you and the child's father?
Okay, so boom. Now the child done got attached to you and enjoys you because you're safe, you're comfortable, you're not chaotic, you're stable. And now the child don't really want to be at the mama house no more. So now she's stalking you and tweaking with you and pulling up to the crib. Yeah, I want to get my son. What do you do then? Because again, these are all situations of I don't trust neither one of y'all.
Correct.
You telling people to be a soldier?
No,
because I'm gonna get to marching. Okay,
you have to make a decision. Is that
it.
the type of lifestyle that you want to have for the rest of your life?
But what if you are in a situation, you married the person, but again they lied to you because they don't want to lose you. So everything was coasting, going well.
You have to make at some point. Listen, Linda.
Okay.
Now, the majority of the time, most stuff is going to come to light, whether people like it or not.
Right. Clock it.
Could be immediate. Could be in a day. Could be a week. Could be a year.
Nobody knows the time or the hour, but he's coming.
Most things truths are going to work their way to the surface. Yes. So and while I understand sometimes there are situations where people are not 100% honest for different reasons. And okay, I get that. I'm not being naive to say, that there's not plausibility that's a whole nother sort of different
Right.
situation. So regardless of whether the person was honest with you 100% before you married the person, now that you're in it, if you are in a situation where there is a chaotic or dramatic
Talk to the people.
relationship with a bio parent of one of the kids, your what would be your bonus child, then the two of you to get, first of all, the bio parent has to be the one leading the situation with their co-parent. It's out of order to think
That wasn't your situation.
it was for a long time. It was. And again, what your mom remembered about the schedule was because I handled the schedule. Your dad couldn't have told you who had what on what day. Good God.
Right. Flubber brain.
You can look like that all you want to, but we had to put it on the dry. He's over there looking appalled, y'all, as he came down to check on us. But he didn't control the schedule. Jesus.
But that's what I'm saying.
And
but from what you've said previously, you the one that even made them amicable.
I
so that was his job. That was his job.
It was, but he.
So we supposed to be Susie Homemaker because we want what's best for the kids, and this ain't even my kid. Because if it was me, okay, yeah, go ahead, give me the coats, get out.
So again, different people handle it differently. It was me.
You're right.
It was my character and my demeanor and again, because I out the gate felt that it was the best thing to do to make an equitable situation, because remember, both of us brought children to this relationship. And I wasn't going to break stride with, even though Jalen's dad, again, he didn't live in the same town. He wasn't as in close proximity.
We gotta have him on here.
Stop. Yeah, he gonna watch some of this and be like, hey, I ain't coming to talk to y'all. Y'all don't talk about me. No, but
I'm gonna be on there if I can smoke a cigarette in y'all house.
He's all good now. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't gonna break stride. I was not going to detract from the ability of that interaction. I need y'all to cut it out. Y'all a mess. Back to your question at hand. They're going to be like, what is wrong with them on this episode? We all over. We like squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. Cut it out. Okay, can you get it together? Maybe not. Sorry. Calvin, you're going to have to cut a whole 2 minutes up out of here. God. Okay, so to your question, are you ready for me to finish? Jiminy Cricket. How do you navigate that sort of situation? Really, people have to be the husband and the wife. One, get resources, that blended family resources, whether, we're in the process of creating our own, but Ron Deal, the other, I'm trying to think of the other.
I'm so sorry, Mama. I'm so sorry. Ron Deal, Cheryl Shoemaker.
And I'm trying to Miss Tammy. Right. No, Miss Tammy and her husband.
I thought his name was Brian.
I can't remember, but it's upstairs. So we're gonna make sure we're updating the website, and I'm gonna make sure that we list these links for people on the website as far as resources. They have materials, whole curriculums for co-parenting. Right. How to create a healthy co-parenting environment. So for the sake of the kids. Right. And really you have to find a way for the bio parent. So in your scenario, say if it's you and your husband, and it's the child, the mother of his child that he brought to the relationship, then the husband has to find a way to respectfully challenge the mother to do better and create and figure out, is there a way to do a peace offering where they are able to sit down and say, how do we figure this out for the sake of the child? Because the child is who's being traumatized by all this drama.
I always say in situations where it's like toxic like that, I always tell people, listen, it's got to be at least one parent that's got something going on up here. It got to be. So do you want to be that parent, or do you still want to be a crash out?
The goal is both parents should want to be that parent.
Yeah,
Because at
but
the end of the day, everybody thinks they're a fantastic parent.
bro, I know 45-year-olds that's still crashing out over dudes like they baby daddy. Like, girl, you could have been done had like 3 things going on in your life right now, business wise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
I
so
do. So, but
some people never
again,
get to that point.
they don't. But you know why? I would submit a possible reason why is because you have not taken the time to unpack and heal, unpack your own stuff and heal as an individual. Once you unpack your own stuff and get to the root of why am I allowing this person or persons or this past relationship or past relationships to dictate my success in life and who I am, why is that reigning supreme? I'm still here. I got breath in my body. For me, again, once you work through your past traumas and you begin to invest in yourself and understand who you are and you desire to be healed, God is able, but people got to be willing.
So
And faith without works is dead. So put in the work and address your issue. Get the counseling you need to deal with your own individual stuff, which then can inform how you think you the greatest mom on the planet and you over here jacking your kid up because you
selling
upset.
yourself for perks.
You know, girl, what?
I don't know.
Cut.
People be out here tweaking.
But
For
you
sure.
are jacking your children up when you are creating drama and dramatic scenarios between you and a co-parent unnecessarily.
Right.
And if people choose to be adults, I would submit to anybody watching that even when you are still hurt, even when you disagree, even when you may not like who your other parent has chosen to now be in relationship with, you can still choose to be a mature adult and create a safe and healthy structure for your child to be able to have a relationship with each one of their parents. Period. It's a choice.
Right.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
Now, if it is an unsafe space or environment from the perspective of unhealthy stuff going on, if there's, God knows, if there is mental abuse, physical abuse, drug abuse happening that jeopardize the person, that's a totally different consideration and scenario. So I am not, you have to use wisdom. You have to know what you're doing when it comes to, I'm not at all trying to suggest that every scenario is achievable when it comes to kids being able to be involved in both parents' lives. Because if someone is dealing with drug abuse, if someone's dealing with alcohol abuse, mental abuse, if it is not safe for the kids, then that is a no-go, period. Right? And it is what it is. And so you have an obligation to protect your children. There's no but behind that. What we are saying here is that if the other parent, because nobody's perfect, as much as we want to think we all got halos hanging over our head and we're the best parent on the planet. Never thought that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their shortcomings. Everybody is human, right? If the home of the other parent is safe for all rights and purposes, and your issue is that you upset because you mad because they hurt you and you still want to be with them, or you don't understand why they don't want to try all of that kind of jazz, just go get some help, unpack your stuff, figure it out, and realize that most likely at the end of the day, you are going to have to give account to that child or children. They're going to
when they get right, but at some point
they're going to
these
ask.
Kids, these generation of kids getting smarter by the year, by the generation, for real. So they're gonna come to quicker.
What happened and why couldn't I and why didn't you?
And then that makes them not trust you as they get older. And
exactly.
Now your relationship is lost. So what roles do extended family play in strengthening or undermining trust in blended families?
By extended families, you mean like the various sets of grandmas and aunties and uncles and all of that. What role do they play? Oh, people be like inappropriate boundaries like nobody's business. And when one person or both people in the nucleus of the blended family, when the husband and or wife mature and grow and then realize, whoa, yeah, this is not healthy. This is not okay. Or we got to make some adjustments, or this is
that why y'all
impacting
didn't let us go over our cousin's house all the time?
There was as far as just inappropriate boundaries, or what do you mean?
Like trust. So basically undermining the trust. But okay, one of, my dad's siblings, right? Mm-hmm. We couldn't really kick it at her house like that. But we also thought like, oh yeah, she's the best aunt, and we love her the most, naively being young, seeing we could do whatever, whenever, however. So in a sense, like that would be like kind of almost, in my opinion, undermining, because like when we get over there is they don't never let y'all do nothing. Blah, blah, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that was just it. If you know that, yeah, were we protective about understanding the reality of the environments that other family members had at their house, which contradicted where we were at, or at least where we knew we wanted to go. Mm-hmm. And so we had to make decisions to adjust boundaries so that to keep you all safe. Absolutely, we did. Mm-hmm. And that's a hard call to make because you love your family, but that don't mean you have to agree with everything that they do.
Right.
And then so you, in order to do the best that you can, right? We had to learn that, hey, I love you, but yeah, no, I don't agree with what you got going on, and I'm not okay with that. So while you're welcome to be over here under the terms that we decided that's okay, we not down with that. Because we understand that your structure is not what we're trying to have in place over here. And we're all adults. Mm-hmm. And so for us, it was about having to reassess the boundaries and just the relationships with our various extended family members in a way that when we were working through understanding how do we create a healthy family unit? How do we navigate this? How do we make adjustments that keep your family intact as best as you can? We just basically had to come to a place where we said, okay, if it means that people are going to be upset because it used to not be a big deal, but now that we know better and we're making decisions to adjust, because once you come to a realization like, yeah, that's not okay. Our kids are getting older and this could put them at risk. You're okay. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change your opinion. It's okay to learn things and grow up and go, ooh, that was okay last week. I don't think that's okay now.
All right. I always say, not the same person I was an hour ago.
For real.
Because I'm serious.
For real.
I was crashing out.
Man.
Now I'm... Amen.
And so as families grow and change, if you are putting in the effort to become a more mature individual and to create the healthiest environment possible for your blended family, and you are continually working to do that in various ways, investing in yourself, investing in your family, gaining knowledge, going, whoa, I didn't realize that. Mm-hmm. Like you said, last week, an hour ago. But now I'm sitting here reading this like, man, this could really make a difference. Let me implement this. Then do that. And you have to get to a point to where your first obligation, for us, God first, and then this nucleus family second. And even if that upsets extended family members, then it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And you pray and then you try to educate your family, and right. Some will receive it and some won't. And that's where it is. But our first obligation is to be who God has called us to be as husband and wife and as mother and father to the 6 kids plus Courtney 7, right? That were 8. Raised primarily up in kids. Here. You know what I'm saying? And then now, again, like you just said, we desire to build legacy. And so we continue to grow. We continue to learn things to then also now have an impact on. We're blessed to have all these grandbabies running around and more still coming, and we want to be able to be a pillar for them.
Y'all gonna have like 90 grandkids. That's
So
crazy.
I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it
and I
did.
know
We're gonna land the plane.
There it is.
Let's do 3 takeaways for building trust in blended families.
Ooh, okay. All right. So I would say point number 1 to everybody, you got to know who you are authentically. So if you have not already done so, and it's an ongoing process, you got to unpack your own stuff. Unpack. And that's a forever life process. Again, right. I mean, we've been in counseling for years. We do couples counseling. I do individual counseling because even at the ripe old age of 52 at this point, sometimes you got to be able to get to what is going on with me. Right. And so being mature enough to understand that talking with someone and talking with a professional to navigate your ups, your downs, your highs, your lows, it actually is a serious benefit and does a great service to your spouse and to your family because it helps you get to the root of your stuff. Once you get to the root of who you are, and for me, I'm continually understanding that I have misplaced the trust that was only meant for God. I was trying to put on people.
Yep.
Which led to my hurt and disappointment in a way that caused me to be insecure about myself. So now that I'm riding that ship and I know, okay, trust God. And then you trust people at an appropriate level, right? But I still understand that people are people and people are going to make mistakes. Now I feel more secure about myself, which means now I can understand who people are and be a more mature, responsible adult in a different type of way, which benefits my family. Does that make sense? So point number 1, unpacking your stuff.
I think point number 2 is starting out being mature enough to communicate.
Yes.
And the biggest word in that is maturity. Because if you're not mature, you don't need to be starting no family with nobody that already got stuff going on. If we want to keep it funky. Because if you want to go tit for tat and be mature enough to want to have open communication and conversations, not only with the person you're in a relationship with, but the children and the other party's parents. So, I mean, not the children's other parents.
That is correct.
So that would be the second one. And the third one,
I think that sticking to that, building trust within your blended family unit, meaning investing in, it's still tied to communication, but setting up processes and structures that deal with the reality of the challenges of a blended family. That includes the kids.
Yeah.
Again, at appropriate ages, but, and there's different phases, right? A lot of people have blended families where the kids may be grown. They still are impacted, right? Now if you're talking to including a 2-year-old, right? It's all within, but once kids are of age.
I mean, you can still include a 2-year-old because if they
agree, but I'm saying
though.
so finding the what, and this is where again getting help and guidance and resources but understanding there are realities to navigating that blended family unit and structure and keeping the kids first. You have to involve them so that they are a part of those conversations to build that trust, to maintain it with the bio parent and the child, and specifically to build a level of trust and respect between the bonus parent and the child that keeps that family unit in a healthy space as best as possible. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so figuring that out, man, if we had known that and had that figured out and actually sat y'all down and talked to y'all individually and collectively about how you felt about our blended family, I believe we would have been in a totally different space. Again, we can't take it back, and I thank God. We can't take it back, and I thank God that we overcame. But we want other people to learn. You don't have to go through what we went through. And it was our faith that prevented that gave Ty and I the courage to not go down the path of divorce, because we were there. We were
Yeah.
talking about it. A lot of people unfortunately don't make the decision. They just give up the ghost, right? They just give it up. They can't do it.
Yeah.
And so we're saying, hey, everybody, if you're involved the kids, find the right process and structure and build the trust with the kids, in particular between, and it's not just the bonus parent and the bonus child, even with the bio parent. Because again, remember, Jayla and I struggled a lot. He knows I loved him, but his trust for me was gone because he felt like I chose you all over him. And so,
Child, and we felt the same way about
right.
you with her. So when you watch this, just know it's been up and it's always gonna be up. No, I'm just kidding.
So those three
But yeah.
takeaways on building trust.
Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode today about trust in blended families. Like, comment, share, subscribe, turn our post notifications on, and thanks for continuing the conversation about blended family matters because blended families matter.
They do. Sorry, apologies. Look in the comment section. We will make sure that we post links to some of the resources we mentioned today, and be on the lookout for improvements in that area. So again, we appreciate y'all. We thank y'all. See you next time.